welcome to week 7 and another cast here on YouTube. My name is Atomo and I'm joined as always by my co-caster, Calamity. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty great. Yeah, we are in Asia again, so that means a chance to see more Japanese locations, so I'm happy. And I'm in particularly happy because we've got two experts, two sort of experts in Japan, at least, in RadoX and IceTharu in Division 2 in this matchup, Calamity.
Yeah, both of them having quite dissimilar seasons so far. Ice is roughly around where he was last season as well, in which he finished 5th and did a pretty good job there. He's currently in 6th, and he's still relatively in touch with the promotion spots. And RadoX, on the other hand, had sort of a mixture of just bad performances as well as slightly unlucky ones as well, where he failed to get a bonus point by one position twice, I think, already. And he's in a real need of getting some more points, currently sitting on 3. I think in Division 2 you'll need about 9 points, I would say, if you want to have at least a chance at the relegation playoff match. So you need 2 more wins for that.
Yeah, he's got a couple weeks to grab them, but time is running out. So he'll definitely be looking to hope that there's a few Japanese seeds in this one that he can take some points off of ice. Yeah, both of them needing points for a bit of different reasons. That's kind of what happens at this end of the regular season here, Calamity, every year. So yeah, pretty close in terms of average points. IceTharu 2,000 points about above him. Their best game is pretty close. Ice just edging out on that and 4 more aces than RadoX here. So we'll see what they're able to do. But as we've been mentioning, here is the map. It's called Asia Complete by Kiriko Nyan. Average score of only 11,826 with just over 1,000 locations. Been played over 1,000 times as well. Yeah, but a pretty big continent map. All the way from the Middle East to Indonesia and Japan, Korea. So anybody you favor here in this one, other than perhaps Ice just because of position table? Or
Yeah, I think if you just look at the position in the table and, past history in the league, then you gotta favor Ice. But judging it by the map they're playing, I think they're actually about even, depending on what the seed gives them. If we get a lot of Japan, RadoX might get a slight advantage there. I don't really know how good either of them are if we go to some of the more difficult Asian countries like Indonesia or Thailand, maybe. But yeah, I think they're roughly equal, I would say, and neither win would surprise me, depending on the seed.
okay, well, with that, let us jump right in here to round number 1. And we'll see what we get. And oh, well, RadoX will be happy. We're in Japan for round 1. So sure enough, the seed delivers.
Both of them heading towards the north. So they'll at least see the same things.
And looks like there's Fukui Ken, and we're near a dam. So if either of them can read kanji, that'll be very good.
Ice can, apparently.
He's trying to, at least. He
I
needs
mean,
to zoom in a little bit further.
If he spends this long looking at the sign, he better be able to read it.
Yeah, and RadoX also getting even better with a road from a prefecture that has that prefecture name, as well as the local city and district. Those are perfect signs to get in Japan. They have all the information. They have the prefecture, the city, the small little village you're in. So if you know how to read all that, you are in heaven.
Yep,
that's right now.
Probably true for about, I'd say even in the Reddit League competitors, about 5% at most. For casual players, we're probably going into the very low 0.0%.
But these two definitely do. They're zoomed into the right place. And Ice will also see that same sign that RadoX got. Now, only about a minute in here, and they're already ready to start pinpointing.
Yeah, RadoX
lots of good clues right by the start.
RadoX has found the 231, I think. If my eyes don't deceive me.
I believe he has. And so has Ice now. And that dam sign means there will be easy to spot. It, I believe, is a point of interest on the map, so they'll use that to help pinpoint. But a bit tricky here, Calamity. They are kind of on an open road.
Yeah,
These small shacks aren't exactly easy to use to pinpoint,
I
but
think the best idea here is what both of them are doing right now, in that they're both trying to get to the next major road that isn't 231, which RadoX is about to reach, just to get a better feeling on how far away they are from that. And then you can, with a minute left, go and try to pinpoint. RadoX just put himself on a point that doesn't quite match up with the road, but whatever. He's got enough time.
yeah, Ice seeing some of those national roads, still small, 3 digits, to the north, so they'll use that. What I always hate about Japan is there's lots of temples as point of interest on the map, but they're almost impossible to actually find in Street View. They don't usually have signs. They're not obvious. They're just old buildings sometimes, if you can even see them. I mean, I even know what to look for, and I miss them half the time. So
Yeah.
it would be nice if there was a big sign that said, you know, blah, blah, blah temple. And you'd be like, oh, there we go. But not that easy.
Yeah. I don't know. RadoX's position where he's placed his pin is obviously wrong from the road direction. So I'm not quite sure what he's looking at.
And he'll run out of time as he does. And it'll cost him 8 points. Ice trying to get a little bit closer, but still losing a point on that pinpointing. Not the easiest thing to do, so can't fault him too much. But yeah, RadoX there, a little bit too far south, Calamity.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. Like, the road direction obviously didn't match up. But the 8 points in and of itself probably won't cost him too much. On Ice's side, he did probably, I wasn't looking too intensely at his screen, but he ended up in the same place that I guessed. I think he had a bit more time to pinpoint, but it's actually quite difficult there to see. There's a couple of houses next to the road where you started, but you have to zoom in quite far to see them. And yeah, when I did it, I just didn't zoom in enough. I don't know, maybe Ice did the same.
Yeah, definitely. So not too much to separate them here, only 7 points. Neither of them getting an ace in that first round as we jump into round number 2. And, well, another Asian country, which sounds weird because it's an Asian map, but maybe Far East Asian country is a better way to put it.
We're not in the likes of Turkey or Jordan or anything like that.
Yeah. And with that writing for Ice, we are in Taiwan because we can't be in China. No,
Well,
only official coverage in this, right? So
yeah, there's only official coverage. I was just thinking, is Hong Kong technically part of China, or is it independent? I forget.
it is technically now.
Yes, so we could technically be in China, Macau as well. But we're not.
I think because Hong Kong was added to Street View while it was still British, and then when it switched, right? If I'm getting my dates right.
I don't know.
So it was like, what, 10, 15 years ago or something that they handed it over. But this should be Taiwan.
Yes.
Got quite a tropical feel to it.
Especially once you see some of the Latinized spellings of words, you know, okay, this can't be Japan. If you didn't get it from the script itself beforehand.
Yeah. At least Taiwan has temples labeled. That's nice.
Yeah.
And Ice there finding a road number, which will be helpful. And it should be pretty clear that this isn't the main island of Taiwan. It's going to be one of those small islands off of it. And sure enough, Ice has found that road number. And with a minute and a half left, he's looking to pinpoint his starting location. RadoX has zoomed in to Taiwan, but still looking at the main island at least. But given how small this place is, oh, there you go. He has that road sign. He'll start looking for that. You can see the ocean from almost everywhere, so it should be pretty clear that it's a very small island.
Yeah, either that or, very far outskirts of mainland Taiwan. Depends on,
Mm-hmm.
in how many directions you actually were able to see it. From the point ice is at currently, yes, it's pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if RadoX has seen it that clearly yet.
Well, he's found the road number, nonetheless.
Mm.
So now he'll be looking to pinpoint himself, but about 30 seconds behind of Ice in that.
Ice has found the temple that he saw on the sign.
And now he'll check that north-south road he starts on. And he'll move a little bit further south, and he should have it. 30 seconds left, though. RadoX is still far afield, trying to find some more information to figure out where he might be.
Ice now putting his marker down where it's supposed to be, just a slight bit off. But it's in about the 1 point loss range at this point.
Yeah. And I think RadoX is across town. 4 seconds left. And if he's going to move this marker even further away, oh no. The last minute adjustment doesn't pay off. Getting exactly what he did last round, to be fair. 4,992 again. So, yeah, if I lose 8 points every round, then I'll be okay. Because he'll be within 100 points and
doesn't sound like the worst strategy to lose 8 points every round.
Doesn't sound bad at all. But Ice will get the ace, 5,000 points for him there. So that lead will get a little bit bigger, but they're still in tie range. Calamity.
Yeah, for now, nothing lost, nothing gained here, as both of them are already out of the perfect game range. Points here, couple points up, couple points down, not too big of a difference.
And we'll move on to round number 3. And we appear to be back in Japan. RadoX has hope yet to pull off a win here, though he'll have to get Ice to drop some points first.
Yeah, and in round 1, when it was Japan, RadoX lost 7 points to Ice. So just it being Japan is not a guarantee that he'll grab some points back.
Indeed. Just a reminder to all of our viewers, yeah, any score within 100 points of each other is a draw. So a player has to drop more than 100 points total for them to lose. Otherwise, they'll draw automatically.
Now that I think about it,
I guess the worst they could do is a draw. Put it that way.
Now that I think about it, I don't think we've ever had exactly 100 points separating two players. I at least can't remember it ever happening.
We've been really close, either side of it. People losing by a half dozen points or so. Again, Ice seeing a Tohoku sign, but that's not going to be too helpful.
What does Tohoku mean?
We are a little bit more rural, sorry. Which means information could be a little bit harder to come by. RadoX had area codes in Japan memorized a while ago. I don't know if he still has them all at his fingertips.
I mean,
that could come into play here.
They are sort of sequential in that they go up the further south you go in Japan. So even if he doesn't know exactly where it is, he'd at least have a rough region based on one.
Yep. And it looks like we'll get some interesting road signs. There we go. That'll be a good one for Ice. A national road with a single digit. That's a major one. You'll be able to find that. Just under a minute and a half to go. Definitely a lot less information than in round 1.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Like, you don't get too many areas in Japan where even on the major signs, a lot of the cities are only written in kanji. But here's some more reasonable signs.
And 2 major cities. That'll be helpful to pinpoint. And unfortunately for RadoX, he's seen lots of small prefectural roads, not national roads like Ice, so he's working with a little bit less. Unless he can figure out something here in the last 30 seconds or so, but doesn't appear so. Those towns probably not big enough to recognize. But
at the same time, Ice is also struggling a bit to figure out where
he's in the right
exactly he
area,
is.
but
Yeah.
yeah, none of those cities for RadoX ring a bell, looks like. He knows maybe somewhere in Tohoku. He's trying to decide he better drop a pin. There we go. As the clock will tick down to 0 here. And you too, for just $2 a month, can avoid ads. And play unlimited Geoguessr. 4,810 points for Ice there, 4,470. So the gap finally opens up. I think RadoX are just a victim of not seeing a national road sign, Calamity.
Yeah. But at the same time, lucky to still get that close despite it. It does lose him 340 points. So he's now out of the draw range. But at least it's not a complete catastrophe. Japan can be quite tough on people if you don't find any information, and you can easily lose more than those 400 points there. But this way he at least stays close enough, and maybe we'll see a location in the last two that can, throw a spanner in the works of Ice and maybe even it out again.
Yeah, he did drop a few hundred points there, but Ice dropped a couple hundred as well, so definitely still possible for them. Yeah, Japan is really weird. I always get like either no information and you're on some empty road in the middle of nowhere with like a small prefecture number at best, and then you also get information overload where you have dozens of cities and small roads, but they're all hard to find and it's so densely packed you can't figure out exactly which road you're on. And so can be both ends of the spectrum in Japan for that one. As we get into round number 4, and what do you know? Another Japanese round.
Yeah.
So if RadoX wanted a seed that gave him a chance, this is it.
Yeah, he certainly can't complain about this one.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I just saw an area code that makes this very close to home. I believe I saw 7-5.
Yeah, RadoX first thing he looked at was a phone number, but I don't think that had an error code.
It was on a sign. I thought I saw it whiz by, but it might have been my imagination. We appear to be in Kyoto. Haven't seen too much to confirm that, but
Both of them just sort of going around residential areas.
yeah. Oh, that'll confirm it. There's a Kyoto bank. So, yeah. So if they knew at least that. Oh, and there's Kinkakuji. So we are in northwestern Kyoto. Let's see if they know that. It looks like Ice does, in fact. No, it's a pretty major tourist destination. Very popular, so that'll help. And RadoX appears to be shaking his mouse at some signs, which, if we could listen to his commentary, would mean that he has a good idea where we might be. Yeah, Japan has lots of small regional banks. So if you're on a main street, you can see a nice building with some big kanji on the side, and you can read it. It could help you out on what major city or region you might be in.
Going back to number one problem, if you can read it.
If you can read it. Oh, come on, RadoX, you can do better than that. You know where Kinkakuji is.
Apparently he doesn't.
Ah, there we go.
All right.
I think he does. And he can actually see it on the map if he moves a little bit further north. Now with about just under a minute and a half, they're down to pinpointing again. So, yeah, RadoX definitely doing well with these Japanese seeds, but unfortunately, Ice, his kanji game is on point as well.
At the same time, I got better scores than both of them on the Japanese rounds, and I can't read any kanji. So it's not necessarily necessary to be able to read them to do well in Japan.
No, I usually read some kanji, figure out where I am, and then like a minute, or not even a minute later, I see it in in Roman alphabet, so the Latin
Mm,
alphabet. So it's like, oh, okay, well, not that important.
yeah, it can certainly help you out, sort of in a very rural area, especially
Mm.
where you might not see much otherwise. But in cities and any sort of at least semi-urban areas, it's usually not that big of a deal.
Yeah, Ice doing much better with the road names. RadoX has appeared to nowhere in northern Kyoto, but is on the wrong side of town as time will run out. 4,980 points for him there, 4,994 for Ice. So that gap ever widening with only one more round to go, Calamity.
Yeah, I think where RadoX went wrong is he gave up on his strategy of always dropping 8 points per round. Um, no, yeah, in this case, both figured out they were in Kyoto. Both didn't really get particularly close. From what I remember as well, the sort of the smaller roads were also kind of confusing because they didn't quite like show up where you'd expect them to. I think you saw a couple of them, and they weren't necessarily close to each other, if I remember correctly. So those might have confused the two of them as well. But yeah, again, it's a couple of points might be crucial later on. Who knows? Doesn't look like it right now.
Yeah, one thing about Kyoto is it is laid out in a grid pattern, so a lot of the roads are very, very long north, south, or east, west. So you could find the road, but you're going to be at the south end of it, not the north end of it, or east or west. So maybe that's what happened to RadoX. Found a few street names, but he was way east, and the intersections were way west, and he didn't see. Looking for those other road names, didn't find them, ran out of time. So a bit unfortunate there. But let's move on to round number 5. And oh boy, if RadoX wanted a location that gave him a chance, this is it. He's down not even 400 points, and we are in rural Korea,
Yep,
Calamity.
rural South Korea, everyone's favorite place.
If
uh,
you like kimchi, yeah, maybe it is. But if you're geoguessing, maybe not.
Yeah, South Korea is actually interesting as a location to get because you can't drop more than like 1,000 points, usually, depending on where the location actually is. But Radix doesn't need more than 1,000 points to be dropped. He only needs 360 or 260 if a draw is enough for him. So that is definitely in the on the cards here. But well, he he'd need to know where the location is himself.
Yeah, so you could definitely make up this gap by just, guessing the wrong side of the country, north, south, east, or west, and your opponent uh, getting it wrong. But again, you've got to find that information. And right now, they're having difficulty simply navigating some of these small roads.
Hmm. Yeah, rural South Korea can also sometimes be a bit annoying to navigate with the street view there. Not always, but sometimes it's a bit weird.
I feel like it's like the same in Japan. It seems like the car doesn't drive how you would think it would drive. You try to go straight, but the car wants to turn, and then you have to, click back and jump to a different recording of that same road to keep going straight, and
Yeah.
be all sorts of mess.
Radux just got teleported all over the place and then decided, okay, he'd rather go back to the start.
Yep. Now, Ice hasn't made much progress either. Find him. Well, there's a little bit of a bus stop, but probably too small.
I don't know if there's any useful information on bus stops like this in South Korea.
Yeah, it's probably got some local name on it, but can you use that? I don't really know.
Hmm.
You can read Korean, but even then, it's going to be very small.
Yeah, if it's not got like at least a province name, or I don't actually know what they're called in Korea, if they're provinces or states or whatever. But if it's not got at least that on it, it's usually not going to help you, even if you
Yeah,
could
there
read it.
there appears to be a major road close. We can kind of see an overpass, but it doesn't appear that they can get on it. They've both moved around the area trying to Be that. Oh, there we go. RadoX has got a decent location now. Oh, it's got a school. But at least it's paved and striped, which is...
It's at Cheongseong village for RadoX, so he doesn't even need to be able to read Korean. He only needs to know tiny villages in South Korea.
What do you know? Can't complain. Right? And with only 14 seconds left, it doesn't look like they're going to have much. Oh, there we go. A historic site. The Great Commanders. Something historic site. Oh, but they're guessing in very different spots. Ice way south. RadoX more towards the central northern part of the country. And, ooh... Oh boy, I don't think that's enough, Calamity. It's really close. 4,021 for Ice, 4,283 for RadoX. I think that's like, what, 150? Just outside of that 100-point gap.
I actually just realized that I must have made a mistake calculating something beforehand, because that means RadoX makes up 262 points. And I said earlier 260 would be enough for a draw, but I don't think it is.
No, it doesn't. Let's see if we can't move them along a little bit. They're way up there next to the border on a small little island. We can get Ice's total score here, 23,824. And RadoX, if you'll jump. Yeah, we got your commentary. We want to see your score. Somewhere. Eventually. There we go. Oh, 23,717. Let me, that's 100 and...
That's 107 points too left.
Oh.
Yep.
7 points.
If he had just gone with the strategy of getting perfect scores instead of 8 points off in the first 2 rounds, then this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, literally one ace in those first 2 rounds where he was just a little bit off would have been enough to save it. But unfortunately, last second comeback in round 5, not enough to close the gap. A heartbreaker for RadoX, 7 points outside of a draw. And maybe with that last round being a bit difficult, hopes for a bonus point, but given the other rounds, maybe not even that, Calamity.
He did get a bonus point at the end, but yes.
Well done.
Unfortunate there. Well, the thing is, he could have easily gotten those 7 points that he was missing. We saw how in round 1 his pinpointing was very off. In round 2 he made that last second correction to go further north, which probably cost him like 3 or 4 points. And in round 4 as well, knew we're somewhere close to Kinkakuji, but then went to the complete wrong side in terms of went to the complete eastern side instead of staying west where the temple is. So it was definitely doable. And I would place no... I think he did nothing wrong in rounds 3 or 5 specifically. I would look for those lost points in the other 3.
RadoX, I know you're going to watch this video, so I got a question for you. In Kyoto, there are 2 temples, Kinkakuji and Ginkakuji. Did you confuse the 2? Did you see Kinkakuji and guess eastern where Ginkakuji is? So the golden and silver pavilions, as they're called in English, they're at opposite ends of the city, east-west wise, but almost the same north-south. So maybe that was it. He saw that sign, thought about the other one, not Kinkakuji. I'm curious now, because that could have been a small little error that could have easily got him 7 points again with that. So anyway, well, that'll wrap it up for this one. A heartbreaker for RadoX, especially with 3 Japanese seeds. He would have liked to at least got a draw out of that, but it wasn't meant to be. So we'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye.